fight the Capra Demon. I will be focusing on surviving, while you should be focusing on the art design of the Capra Demon. Notice everything about the Capra Demon: the tail, the legs, the pants, the binding that keeps the pants in place, the body of the Capra Demon, the head and the eyes of the Capra Demon, the horns that grow like branches from the Capra Demon's head. All of that is important and is one of the most important symbols of the Witch of Izalith and her story. So, here we go. And there is Death 1. Now, I had a few episodes ago in the comments section talking to Johann Burgermeister. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I responded to one of his comments by saying to fill in the dead air of me running back and forth between the Capra Demon fight and Filing Shrine, maybe there is some questions or a question that you have about things that we talked about so far. And he responded with a question about the soul of Priscilla, which I thought was quite fascinating and quite cool, because the soul of Priscilla is actually quite important to me as well in my own kind of journey in discovering the lore of Dark Souls. There are a few item descriptions that have a very strong voice to them. For me, it was the soul of Priscilla, it was the rubbish item description, and it was the soul spear item description. That's the one where the sorcery created by Logan is equated to the strength of Gwyn's lightning bolts. And of all the item descriptions that I came across, those three stood out as odd to me, because while the other ones are either use this rapier to do this and those kind of informative descriptions, or they are just tidbits of information, of facts about the world, much like you find in many games. Those three item descriptions really had a voice to them, and I found that odd, because for the creators of the game to have bothered putting such a strong voice to those items meant there must have been a narrator. There must be a story being told here, and this was long before I even fell down this rabbit hole. This was when I just thought that this was an action-adventure game based around in the vein of Castlevania, and the item descriptions were neat, but there wasn't really that much of a story to Dark Souls. And those three item descriptions are actually what got me asking questions and wondering whether this could actually be the game where people don't just allude to a complicated and fascinating storyline, that there is actually one there. And to my joy, I found one. So yes, so back we'll go, fighting the Capra Demon, and after I die here, we can then go back to discussing the soul of Priscilla. almost. That felt a lot better. Gotta get there. So, the soul of Priscilla that Johann Burgermeister asked a question about. What is the nature of the item description and the language used in it? So let's read that. Soul of Priscilla the Crossbreed. Soul of Priscilla the Crossbreed, trapped inside the painted world of Ariamis. Special beings have special souls. Use the soul of this crossbreed bastard child, an antithesis to all life, to acquire a huge amount of souls, or to create a unique weapon. And it is also funny when you look at that description compared to the other souls, such as a Moonlight Butterfly, where usually the narrator, whoever that happened to be, is all like, you should use this simple soul to do this thing. Here, there are a lot of words and not a lot of nice words about Priscilla, a character who seems to be quite gentle, quite nice, and is one of the few characters in the game, Priscilla being the one who doesn't kill you on sight. She will just sit there until you attack her, if you choose to. If you don't, you can choose not to attack Priscilla at all, if you wish. Just demonstrating that very important attack again. And again. So, Johann Burgermeister was curious if Velka is the narrator, as I claim, and if Priscilla is her mother, which is another claim that I've made, why would she write something about her own mother? And that was discussed quickly in the last episode of the series, which is the love triangle between Menace, Priscilla, and Velka. Okay, I have this Capra Demon right where I want her. Now, I have to do my duty as a Nameless Tour guide and demonstrate to you the art design and try not to get myself killed at the same time. Notice the pants bark like trees, pointing to the idea that she is a giant made of the wood of the fudge it. Okay, notice the body. Notice the head of the Capra Demon. Notice the fact she wields 2 weapons. And those weapons are a type of machete. Whew. Done. No Estus Floss left. So, some things I do want to point out and try not to get killed before we end this episode. I will return to the Soul of Priscilla as well. I'll just finish off the discussion of the Witch of Isolith. Notice the life that comes from this place is the Capra Demon's realm, and it is lush and it is full of grass specifically. Up here, beyond the bandits, the basement is made of stone and there is no life. But here, there is plenty of life. Just like Witch Beatrice's summoning sign gave life to those flowers in Ulysses, the Capra Demon gives life of grass, and that is an important difference as well visually. Is notice that it is grass in the fight with the Capra Demon, while in Ulysses there are flowers around, maybe not in the main area. There are flowers around, but they're few and far between in the swampy areas of the Darkroot Garden. When we got to the bridge, there where we fought the Moonlight Butterfly, there was a bunch of flowers growing out of the blue sparkles that came off the bridge, where if we'd gotten to that phase of the Moonlight Butterfly battle, which is where the Moonlight Butterfly stops to drink and recharge its magical energy. But the Capra Demon and the Witch of Isolith, the life that she gives, is without flowers. It is simply grass. The green blossom. Green weed shaped like a flower. Temporary boost to stamina recovery. The uniquely bitter biting herb is sometimes harvested in large quantities, but normally it is an annual plant found near water. So that is today's episode. We have done a lot in this episode. I will just finish off the Soul of Priscilla after I do the wrap. So that is today's episode. Today we have done an awful lot. We have met Sigmaya of Katarina, where we learned that he was the symbol of Havel the Rock, who waited for the world to change around him. We met Knight Lordran of Karim and saw the Dark Souls cutscene of the discussion between Gwyn and Sif the Scaleless in the Age of Ancients, where Gwyn was released from his prison by Sif the Scaleless. We had a look at some extra detail in the Undead Church. We then went and discussed the nature of the Undead Burg as a map or a collections of homes of the undead that we visit during our hero's journey, and talked about New Londo, Enel Londo, and the legacy of Gwyn represented by the Residence Key, and that led us down into the basement where we met Griggs, a symbol of the everlasting dragons and the surviving remnants of them. And this time he will be more careful. And then we discussed the bandits being symbols and how they bear a visual resemblance to the cloaked or robed daughters of chaos that we will meet along our journey. And then we fought the Capra Demon and discussed the witch, how that is a symbol of the Witch of Izalith and tells the story of the Witch of Izalith. And a story which we will tell more of as we continue along our journey. And now I will finish off the discussion about the soul of Priscilla and Velka. And I'm doing this without being too concerned about spoilers, but the discussion that I have here doesn't really contain many spoilers because the last episode really did capture the core of why Velka has such a dislike for her mother Priscilla, and that is because Priscilla, in Velka's eyes, Priscilla prevented Menace loving her. And reason that Velka has those words for her mother is twofold. One, it is all completely accurate. Priscilla is a crossbreed bastard child. That is the truth of Priscilla's existence. She is the antithesis to life. That is absolutely also true, and very important to the lore of Dark Souls. But the reason Velka doesn't even give her the name of the Dark Moon Goddess is because even at the end of the story of Dark Souls 1, Velka has not gotten over her what would you say, dislike for her mother and what had been. Even though she has made her peace with it, by the end of Dark Souls 1, Velka has made her peace with what happened in Lordran. Never fully got over either her love for Menace or her dislike for her mother. And that is why she's still here showing us this story, because she still has humanity. She is still linked to this plane of existence because she still wants things, she still desires things. Her love for Menace, her dislike for her mother keeps her bound to Lordran. It's not the only thing that keeps her bound to Lordran. Other things also motivate Velka, but it's part of her character and her nature. And while it does seem at this point rather selfish of Velka and cruel of Velka to speak so harshly of Mother, as we continue the story and we see what happened to Velka, it wasn't as simple as that. Much like there's a line in where we learn more about Menace, there's a line where one of the characters says they Menace tortured him before he went down in Aldia. Menace was indeed tortured. Velka was tortured similarly and in a different way. And that is where a lot of her as a character is from, what happened to her. And we will be discussing that in quite some detail in the next episode as we descend into the depths below with the key that we just acquired. And so, I will see you next time as we explore the depths below the basement of the Undead Burg.